Understanding My Community, Topeka West High School, Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, Kansas is the state capital of Kansas. The population is about 128,000. In Topeka, there is a great deal of diversity. Caucasian people make up about 68% of the population, while 14% are Hispanic and about 10% are African American. Significant community impacts, things that have affected our community a great deal. Of course, we're pretty well known for the Brown versus the Board of Education that was, directly impacted Topeka Public Schools. And Topeka Public Schools are actually still under that Supreme Court ruling, and it's always on the forefront of everything that we do. We also have the Westboro Baptist Church. Topeka is pretty well known for that. It's where we pretty regularly see the picketers, and we have the students and from their church and things like that. Also, Topeka has an above average crime index for Kansas and actually for cities in America. I think that ours is somewhere around 500, while the national average is somewhere around 300. Notable community activities, events, and traditions for Topeka. Of course, we have Washburn University. We also have the Washburn Technical Institute. We have lots of tradition for art and culture. We have the Topeka Civic Theater, the Topeka Performing Arts Theater, Helen Hawker Theater. There's a lot of arts surrounding Washburn University. There's oftentimes like art walks and parks and museum displays and things like that. Even the Topeka Public Library has an art exhibit frequently in one of their rooms. We have the Topeka Public Library, which is quite a library. The facility is awesome. They are pretty well known for their genealogical library that's upstairs on the second floor, and there's just a lot of resources there. Other things that affect Topeka, they're working on a downtown revitalization. Even over the bridge in the old downtown, the Topeka is really trying to draw businesses in to make it viable. We also have the Expo Center. We have a great Parks and Rec program. We have a Gage Park that has a pool and a carousel, playground equipment. The Topeka Zoo is also located over there. Things that are important to Topeka that stand out in my mind are the St. Patrick's Day Parade, that we have a big Cinco de Mayo celebration. There's also something called Fiesta Days where they have, it's a big Hispanic celebration that everybody in Topeka goes to. They have a big carnival, lots of vendors, that sort of thing. And so that's pretty much summary of the customs and traditions that surround Topeka. Okay, the population characteristics of Topeka are pretty similar to that of the national average. When we're talking about education levels, high school graduates, about 89% of the population 25 and older have a high school equivalency or high school graduation status. About 1 in 4 people have a bachelor's degree, and about 9% hold a graduate or professional degree. The median age in Topeka is 35. Males make up a little bit less than half of the population with 48%. Females represent 52%. The main occupations in Topeka, construction is employs the most people, followed by public administration, and then healthcare, food service industry and accommodations, education, and then finance. Communication channels in Topeka, the ones that stick out most in my mind is, of course, the Topeka Capital Journal. That is a really widely used mechanism for communication. The circulation is over 52,000. They publish a paper every day. They have a rather large Sunday paper. Um, all the schools use it. All of the people of Topeka use the Topeka Capital Journal. When we're thinking about like news stations and internet sites that are directly um, related to Topeka, everybody thinks of WIBW. That's the main source for local news. Anytime anybody wants to know anything about something that happened down the street, or when schools are closed or anything like that, they go to WIBW. The foreign language impact, of course, we have a large Spanish-speaking population, just because Hispanics represent roughly 15% of the population here in Topeka. So other than, English being the main language, we also have a large Spanish-speaking population. Community groups in Topeka, that's sort of a tough one. We have extensive community organizations here. We have approximately 100 churches. Every neighborhood is divided into subdivisions with titles, and there's more than 35 of those. There's pretty much an organization for virtually every interest group that's available in Topeka. So anything that you would want to get involved with, whether it's karate or quilting, there's probably going to be a community group available for you here in Topeka. Influencing agents for Topeka, I talked about those community organizations. So I would say that the leaders of those organizations offer leadership for Topeka. Also, besides those organization leaders, there's also business owners and union representatives that work to, make change or set the standard for things that are happening in Topeka. So I would say that the characteristics of leadership or leaders in Topeka, obviously the first one just, being leadership. Also, I've noticed that, these leaders have the desire to prompt change. So, I mean, that's always at the forefront of everything that they do. They want to see something change, so they might go to a city council meeting, or they might go to a school board meeting or something like that. Also, these people I've noticed have the ability to network. They seem to know a lot of people in lots of different fields or positions, and so they're able to get things done just based on that. Also, leaders in Topeka are very established in the community. They've been here a long time. They have lots of ways to get at different people. And so I would say those would probably be the characteristics of leaders in this community. The median household income is $40,700 roughly, with the national average being $50,000. So it is significantly below the national average. Also, the house value and just the cost of living is much lower here in Topeka than it is in other areas of Kansas. The unemployment rate is 7.8%, so pretty close to 8%. Major employers or industries include the state of Kansas, that employs almost 9,000 people in Topeka, followed by Stormont Vail. They're pretty well known for being the second largest employer. Then followed by USD 501, employs over 2,000 people, and then Blue Cross Blue Shield follows that. Major trade and industry companies that are in Topeka right now are Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway, Frito-Lay's. We just put in a new Mars plant, Goodyear, Hills Pet Nutrition. So we have lots of, we also have Reese's. We have lots of, trade and industry positions here in Topeka. I don't know that we can separate politics from education. I just think really that it's too difficult to do, since we receive most of our funding from the government. Topeka Public Schools has roughly 14,000 students at last count. They have 3 traditional high schools: Topeka West High School, that's where I work, Topeka High School, and then Highland Park High School. We also have 2 non-traditional high schools, Hope Street Academy and Capital City. Then there are 6 middle schools, 21 elementary schools. The funding, I think it's somewhere, it might be a little bit less, but it's somewhere around $5,000 per pupil from the state government. And then voters just recently passed a bond for $143 million for Topeka Public Schools, and that will help pay for technology initiatives. I don't want to say career and technical education, but that's basically what it is. Also, updates on buildings and just things like that. So I don't know that, like I said, I don't know that you can separate politics from education just because they're so, that's where all the funding comes from. As far as social tensions go, I think that the biggest source of social tension is that there's so much diversity in Topeka. First of all, socioeconomic statuses are so different here. We have a high level of low SES students, and maybe it seems like the high socioeconomic status students are going to the outskirts of Topeka, like Washburn, Rural, Seaman, Shawnee Heights, those school districts. And so the ones that are left, there's obviously tension between those groups. Also, there's race and ethnicity. That's a cause for social tension. And then gang activities, they exist here. They're a topic of collaboration. Our SRO will come in and tell teachers what to look for, what kinds of gang activities are existing in schools. But my personal opinion is that it seems like gang activity is they sort of keep that out of school. Like gang members, they kind of keep it on the streets and don't bring it into the school building. And I don't really know how they've, I don't know why they've come to that agreement, but somehow they have. And so it almost seems like we don't need to worry about it as much just because of that, because they're volunteering to keep it out of the school. Okay, so extra sources of information. There's school records. That's been a problem in Topeka Public Schools just recently. So school records can be accessed by a student's teacher only. Like a teacher cannot access all student records, just their own students. Also, parents have access to school records. There's questionnaires given to pupils, and those are given to students and parents to help get more information about our clientele. Also, minutes of school board meetings are accessible online through the Topeka Public Schools website, and then we also have the Topeka Public Schools website, and then further each school has their own website. So those are ways that parents can get information. Okay, so power structures in Topeka schools. There's obviously the school board who makes all the final decisions. There's the KNEA, which works with the school district to, help make decisions about schools and teachers. Then there's the superintendent, and there's the principals. And between the superintendents and principals, it seems like there's a lot of secondary people who do lots of different things. I know we have a director of secondary instruction. We also have curriculum coordinators and, people who make decisions about teachers at the secondary level. And I hate to say that I'm just not quite sure who all those people are. It seems like there are so many people who work down at the Burnett Center, and I'm not quite sure exactly what they all do. Multicultural issues include a rapidly changing demographics. We have an increase in ELL students. We have specific ELL schools that are set up to meet their needs. Also in Topeka, we have an increase in free and reduced lunch rates, a dramatic increase in recent years. Other things in our own school that we have something called Heritage Days, which works to celebrate different cultures. We have school plays and musicals. We have art displays that we try to get out beyond our school. Measuring public opinion is given by the SurveyMonkey. It helps get personal information about parental attitudes about the school and things like that. and we also have school board meetings. Thank you.